I am so tired of making videos like this, trying to protect the community against nonsense. If this passes, it will change this hobby. It'll ruin this community, and it's up to you and I to save it. In a nutshell, bans on animals do nothing that is good at all. They're repressive laws that don't really affect anything. Now, this is a blanket statement, right? I'm just saying, in the most part, if you're going to ban things like ball pythons in Saskatchewan, what are you doing? To be more specific though, and the topic of today's video specifically is the America Competes Act of 2022, HR 4521. This is a very long document, and hidden right within it, very deep inside, are amendments to the Lacey Act, where if passed, anything that is a non-domestic type species of animal, so we're talking about fish, we're talking about birds, we're talking about reptiles, we're talking about tarantulas, we're talking about insects, anything that is not domestic is going to be restricted much more than it is already. And this isn't a selfish proposition. I'm not talking about just keepers who keep private collections. I'm talking about zoos, research facilities, aquariums, anything that houses animals that are not cats, dogs, or livestock will be affected by this bill. So not only the zoo that you like to take your kids to on the weekend, but also the mom and pop shop who breeds reptiles or sells reptiles, they can't get in supply or sell across state lines if this bill were to pass. So what they're calling it is injurious species. And injurious species, what does that mean? It means whatever they want it to mean. It means that if they want to label a Burmese python and a ball python the same way as an injurious species, they can do that. And neither one of these, if not on the white list, will not be able to be transported across state lines. Now, right now, the US operates on a blacklist type system, and that's usually dependent on the state. For example, in Florida, on the blacklist are Burmese pythons, reticulated pythons, things like that you're not allowed to own because if let go, if they got free, they could severely damage the ecosystem in Florida. And to a certain extent, at least on the surface, this could be seen to make some sense. But if this bill passes, they would move to a whitelist system, which means that if every species that you keep isn't on that whitelist, you can no longer take them across state lines. If you want to move state, if you want to go on vacation and take your reptile, a lot of people take their bearded dragons on vacation. Or if you want to seek veterinary care, for example, you can't. So let's suppose you live in a place like, I don't know, Kansas City, where you live in Missouri and you need to go to Kansas because your specialty vet is there. If you live in, I don't know, northern Texas and Oklahoma is where the specialty vet is for reptiles that you like to go see, sorry, can't do that anymore. You are no longer allowed to take that animal across state lines to get veterinary care. Even if they're returning in 2 hours, doesn't matter. Now, why? Why would anyone want this? That's a really good question. That's a question that I can't answer. I have no idea. And I'm not saying this, that, or the other thing, but I am saying that this part of the bill, the one that will change the amendments to the Lacey Act, is hidden really deep in America Competes.
Oh man, that's deep.
America Competes, this bill, is to bolster American security. I'm cool with that. I love the idea of a safe but free country, but hidden within it is the bill. So why wouldn't they be transparent about it? Well, I'm not saying this as a fact, but I would suspect the same reason that when we were 7, we would hide the 7 boxes of Oreo cookies we took off the shelf when mom wasn't looking and hid it under the produce and the meat so that she would take it through the cash register and not know, and it would just pass that way.
Sneaky, sneaky, sir.
The reason we did that is because if we were upfront about wanting 7 boxes of Oreo cookies, she would say no. Well, same thing. If this was a very transparent thing, no one would say yes, because this bill doesn't make any sense. For what reason am I not allowed to take my bearded dragon across state line? If I live in New York State and want to go to Pennsylvania for vacation, why can't I bring my... It doesn't make any sense. It's not like I take it from my breeding facility in Tonawanda and go to Erie and all of a sudden I let it go and it lives. Like, it snows there. It doesn't make any sense. And the reason that it is imperative for us to take action now is because when bills pass, it is very difficult to change them back, to make amendments. Once this freedom, and that I'm gonna call it that because that's what it is. Right now, you have the freedom to own all the species except for what's on the blacklist in your state. If this changes, you will not have the freedom to own anything except for what this act, what the people in charge deem is okay for you to keep. And if you'd like to remain having this freedom, we need to write our senators, and I know if you're rolling your eyes right now, because I used to be one of those people, yeah, I don't want to write an email. There are literally templates where you put your name in, and that's it. And you address that email to the person whose email address is provided for you in the link in the description. I'm talking less than 5 minutes of your time to possibly save this hobby. I'm not telling you what to do, I'm asking. I don't live in that country. I don't live in the US. I don't have a dog in the fight.
How dare you!
But I still don't want to see people's freedoms be taken away, and make no mistake about it. If you live in Canada, Denmark, Australia, it doesn't matter where you live, it's kind of a precedent. Everyone's watching the US. What I mean is they've got a lot of people, and people pay attention because that's where media lives. So yes, it will definitely affect you in some way, shape, or form, even if you don't live in that place. So if this bill were to pass, you can't transport any animal that isn't on the whitelist across state lines. For any reason. At all. Ever. For any length of time.
For any reason, ever, no matter what, no matter where or who you were with.
Why? And with this shift in regulatory process, all animals that you would want to bring into the country would require a special type of export, or import rather would be the right word, and it's going to cost a lot of money and a lot of time. Basically, it's going to become very difficult to bring anything into the country, anything into the state, export anything out of the state. It's just a mess. And again, for no reason. And if you're thinking, well, this doesn't affect me, I've lived in wherever I live my entire life and I'm never leaving. Well, guess what? It will affect you. Because at the end of the day, that's how these things work. You give an inch, they take a mile. It doesn't stop here. It'll keep going. It'll turn into something else. Once these regulations start to snowball, I hate to say it like this, but they're coming for your pets. Now, I don't want to make this all doom and gloom, right? Because I know there's some people that'll say, well, I'll just keep them anyway. No one's ever going to know.
I'm a loner, Daddy. A rebel.
I live in a dead end in a street that no one's ever heard of, and well, here's the deal. If someone does find out, well, it's $20,000 and or 5 years in jail. Does it make sense that if you keep an animal that isn't on the whitelist, that you have to spend 5 years in a jail cell?
I am here to scare you straight!
No, it doesn't make sense, but they'll throw you in a cage anyway. That's how laws work. So I'm not saying break laws. I'm not saying disrespect laws. I'm saying respect the laws, but let's do everything we can to change things before those nonsensical things become laws in the first place. Because there is a giant difference between right and wrong and being illegal or legal. Those things don't always coincide with one another. So let's do all we can to make sure that the laws actually make sense. On February 4th, this bill was passed in the House of Representatives. Then it's going to the Senate. If it passes the Senate, it can become law. So if you would like to help, take 5 minutes, hit the link below, and it will tell you who the senator is in your state that would be the best to write to. The person to write to that you can strongly urge to oppose this bill. And furthermore, this is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. But USARK. If you can support USARK, these are the people who are fighting for our rights. This is the organization going up to bat and trying to combat these bills. These are the people who are actually taking action. You and I can do a big part in a small way by writing to our senators. But also, if you have a couple of bucks, if you have $40 for the entire year, you can become a bronze member, you get a shirt, you get a badge that you can display to show your support for USARK. And if you're wondering, have they ever done anything good in the past? Yes. There have been a lot of bills that have been opposed, and USARK has been a big part of that. So this was a little bit of a departure from what we normally do on the channel, but I found it really important. Please let me know in the comments section below. What do you think? Did you write to your senator? Why or why not? I would love to hear from you. At the end of the day, this is all about democracy. What do the people want? And as far as I can tell, people don't want their rights being stripped away to own animals when it does no harm to anybody. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you want to be part of the Patreon team, that would be awesome. For as little as $1 a month, you get extra videos, you get extra content, you get to see behind the scenes, you'll see the Reptile room early, discounts on the merch, all sorts of different things, and Discord perks too. If you haven't joined the Discord, like, what are you waiting for? We talk about reptiles all the time. It's awesome. Anyway, for as little as $1 a month, you can be part of that. Discord is free. And because we do videos twice a week, that means I'll see you on Thursday.